think we're good. You guys let me know if you can hear me. I don't know. Click some buttons, click some stuff. Think we're good. I'm just trying to see if this rolls over here. Hmm. Can you guys just jam in the chat if you guys can hear me anywhere? Oh, my God, I think it's working. Here, let me turn the audio on. I want to hear a test. All right, wow, okay, cool. Think we're good. All right, well, anyway, so thanks everybody that's actually in the chat that wasn't in the last one. I had to do some setting up stuff. You guys can all give a round of applause to Mr. V in the chat. He let us know in the other stream that it's totally possible to have like legit chatting going on with these things. So sweet. Just give me a second here. I'm adding stuff. I hope I don't have to kill the stream to add settings. I think I actually might. Damn it. Let's see. Because there's like the webcams so you guys can see my ugly face and stuff. Let's just see here. What is this called? This one would be called links, I think it was called. This is all on a whim, you guys, so I appreciate everybody coming in that was just randomly on the internet. What the whole point of this test is in the new year, the first or second week of January, I was saying that I want to get back into streaming the Wednesday shows, if you guys remember that. That's every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What this lets me do, thank goodness so far, is that I can actually just schedule this in advance. You guys will get a notification that there's something on Wednesday, and you don't have to worry about thinking about it or if maybe missing it. Which is great, and it acts a lot like right now with what you guys are seeing. This used to be different. This used to only be like people could leave comments to a stream, but you couldn't actually legit chat with people. And that's a huge bum out. And that's not even fun. Like that sucks. It sucks so bad. So this is great. It's saying my stream status is bad, so you guys let me know how the audio is and all that crap. But anyway, so what this means is that we'll be able to get those streams, or those, what are they called again? The, sorry guys, I'm doing like 5 things at once here. The Wednesday shows from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they'll be back in, good to go, and it'll be peaches and cream. We'll be able to just do casual streams still too, but this is actually awesome because now I can actually plan things like critique shows or something and all that's really, really good stuff. And V, like what you're saying, I think that's, yeah, okay, so V's also saying, this won't be recorded, so you guys can all see the chat. I honestly don't think that's a bad idea either. So we'll look into it. We'll look into it. Just give me 1 second. I'll try to answer. Diego, what's the configuration brush from the ink? Or do you want to know the inking brush I'm using? And Etiful, am I saying your name right? I know I've asked this before. I will answer your question again. Could you just paste it back in the chat for me if you don't mind? I'm just trying to set this up. You guys will see all this stuff kind of like on the fly here. We'll get that one perfect. All right, let's see if we can get our webcam working. Our nude show that was a little earlier, that ended, so you guys don't have to worry about that. Disable audio. We don't need audio. Whew, look how zoomed in that is. You're going over here, bro. And zoom, 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 zoom. Whoa, whoop. Let's shrink that up. How big did we? You guys let me know how big you guys want this. And then we're going to add one more thing. Add an image. Webcam border. So we can get that ink thingy on there. Where is it? This one. And click OK. Drag it over here. And there you go. You guys just saw the magic of television. All set. Oh, awesome! Yeah, I'm glad you guys, those of you that saw the interview, thanks. I'm gonna see if I can like maybe somehow post it directly on the channel. Kurt Sasso of Two Geeks Talking interviewed me at a local convention, and he finally got that all wrapped up. Great guy, lots of great content. You guys can check his stuff out there too. It was just a small little interview. Had a lot of fun there. You found a Joe Mad font at Comic Book Fonts. Is that the one? It's probably the same one. I'd imagine it's the same. Okay, so in the last stream, this again, this isn't meant to be anything like dramatic, guys. This is just for fun today. This is just a casual stream. Lucked out to find out that we can actually just stream with notifications for you guys. So don't expect anything amazing. I'm just doing some coloring here for some Jessup King pages. So by all means, if you guys want to stick around and watch some comic stuff being drawn, you're more than welcome to. Where are we going at here? Grab this. It's funny. It's like I know a bunch of you guys just got notified, so there's probably people in here that are coming at this fresh, right? But we've been streaming all day, so it's like almost like there's two different people kind of. Oh, the interview here. Let me here. I'll share it with you guys. 1 second. Let me just make sure this is right. Cool. YouTube. Where we at? Here you go. 70. Yeah, that sounds about right. I forget if I spent that or like $100. I spent something that I've never purchased a font before in my life. But like I say, I know the intent, and I'll most likely be using this font for pretty much any comic going forward. The reason I spent the money for it, and this is just me. I'm not telling you guys what you need to do or what you should do or anything like that. Let me just actually color it like this. But I just bought it because for two things. One, it meant that I had to take things a little bit more seriously if I'm putting that kind of money on something that arguably, like, it's super important. Like, right, like lettering in a comic book is just as critical as the art. Bad lettering destroys a great looking comic. So there's that. I wanted a professional level font without having to worry about making my own stuff. And obviously the second one was more of like a throwback to what really got me excited about comics, which was Battle Chasers. So if I could even have a piece of that in here, again, it's more for me. Again, on that little note, that little part, that's just for John. But you guys wouldn't be surprised, but I guess there are some people that they don't really pay too much attention to it. But if you look at any kind of comic, you guys can look online right now at webcomics, or maybe you already know what I'm talking about. Webcomics are the greatest offender because there's so many people doing them. So you're gonna have like such a huge deviant deviation between. You could actually see uh, good lettering as well as bad lettering back to back, and you can see like which ones stand out as like stand out as sore thumbs just with bad lettering. And bad lettering I know is subjective and stuff, but I think we're all on the same page. It's exactly what the hell bad lettering can kind of look like. So if you're making your own book, I'd recommend looking into getting a good font. Again, I'm not saying spend money on one. I'm just saying look into it. There's lots of free ones out there. Are you snoring, Jojo? You snore, bud. Tired kitty cat. Hey Jordan, how's it going? What's up, Papa? Just give me a second here, guys. I gotta turn the heat down. It's cooking in here. Okay, thanks, Etef. I'm gonna butcher your name. I apologize. No, thank you for asking, re-asking that because I asked it earlier and I wasn't sure if you got it. So thank you for re-asking. And again, to anybody else that's watching, guys, by all means, if you guys ever have a question on anything, just throw it out there. Don't be shy. All I'm doing is drawing, so don't worry about breaking my attention or something. So I swear I'm not trying to be a nuisance, but about how do you, do your comics with the beginning, middle, and end, and all that jazz. I need that in my life. Okay, so what he or she is talking about. Let me just quickly look through my old videos so I can get it. But then I'll show you it again. And you want to know about what specifically do you want to know about that? Do you want me to just go over how I did it, like with the page count again? Is that what you're interested in, or are you just interested in like a like a practical way to use it or something? Just let me know exactly what you're looking for with that, and I'll try to answer that while I look for the video I have. Sorry, guys. There's a lot going on right now with some uploads and some downloads. Um, let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, thanks, V. Okay, so here I'm posting this one, and there's also a part two. These are old videos. I had to be quiet because my family was sleeping while I was. Or no, this one. No, this is old school, man. This is 2011, guys. Oh yeah. So that video actually goes into some depth, I guess. I think part two is how you break it down into pages. Um, but again, just let me know specifically what you need help with, and I'll be more than happy to help. I know, guys, we're going super retro. It's so bad. Whoops. Okay, so I always forget what Jessup's colors are. It's kind of sad, I know. Let's take a look here. So it's red there and just red there, that's it. Gotcha. Wait, what? Oh, the dot on the inside. Gotcha. Thanks, Felix. Definitely helps. Like I haven't drawn, sadly, I haven't drawn enough of these characters to totally remember the colors just yet. As I keep going through this, it'll become second nature. But for now, it's good to have just something like this that you can quickly look at. There's not a lot of details on the characters, right? So it's super simple, but it's easy to get confused sometimes. At least, at least it is for me. Yeah, I haven't. How old is the original video here? I'm gonna put. I think it's like episode. I'm gonna put episode 1. Episode 1. Sorry, Jojo, I took your chair. Here. You want a bag, bud? Here you go. There you go, buddy. There's your chair. You want to come back up? You have a little snack? You want to come back up on your chair? It's all ready for you. Episode 1. 2010? Jesus. Here, let's just take a little blast from the past for a second here. Hold on. We're gonna. This is just for me, guys. So this one is just for me. Let's turn the audio on for you guys. I'm gonna turn my audio off.
everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of Scribbles with Jonathan. I'm your host, Jonathan Rector. And before we get started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about exactly what this is. I've done this a little bit in the past before. It was a couple of videos, semi-daily released. And basically all it is just so we get to draw together. It gives me a little opportunity to take a little break and draw some scribbles, draw some drawings, draw the good stuff. And the best part about it is I get to bring you guys along, and hopefully what I want to do with this version anyway is make it a semi-daily show. And considering it'll be on YouTube anyway, I get to do some video with it, and there's some downsides and bonuses and pluses and all the good stuff that come with it, and some negative stuff. Right now there's some technical limitations that I'm dealing with, and that'll mainly be with my video recording device. And right now I have a web camera, which I've used in my previous videos. However, I find that it doesn't work as well as I'd like it to. So I'm looking into some of the I guess, higher definition cameras, I suppose you could call them, to record actual pencil drawing and line work. And until that gets settled out, we'll either have to stick with two options, which you're looking at right now, which is me still tinkering around with a screen capture device. Let's see if I can find the name for you guys for the program here. So if you guys ever wanted to take a look and make your own, by all means, you guys could hammer this one out too. The program I'm using, where is it here? Sorry about all this. Basically, I'll try to find it, and I'll just go back and I'll put it at the bottom of the screen that you're watching right now, the actual name of the program. So if you want, what it does is you just hotkey an F key on your keyboard. This is for PC anyway, I'm not sure about Mac. And you just record what you're drawing. And as you can see, what I'm drawing right now, it's kind of laggy, and it's not an entire full screen. I do run at a higher resolution on my computer, and the resolution I'm running at anyway is 1680 by 1050, so it's pretty big. And when I'm rendering this file or recording as I'm drawing, it gets a little, like I said before, laggy, and you really don't want to watch that stuff. So I basically just framed a picture here, and hopefully it's going to convert pretty well to YouTube. You may have to full screen to see it. However, this is the first trial run of the episode, and we'll see how it goes from here. But I'm pretty excited to get it started. And what I thought we would do to start it off with is I'm going to do, I suppose, a monster or a creature or something. Something fun, something loose. And what you're seeing right now, what I'm doing, is how I usually start most of my warm-ups. If I have no idea, absolutely no idea what I'm doing, I'll just do some scribbles like this, and eventually the scribbles will start turning into other things. And right now I've been doing a lot of little skinny, lanky people with exaggerated limbs and exaggerated features. And right at this stage, we're not looking for anything beautiful. We're not looking for anything anatomically correct. Your foreshortening is going to be off. Whatever you want to do, just the idea is to keep the pen or pencil, or in this case, our little tablet pen, moving. Just keep it going. Just keep it going. Keep those distractions. Keep them popping in your head. Just pop, pop, pop. Keep it going. Never stop. You may spend a couple of seconds looking over what you've been doing and just feeding off one another, and that's what you want. You want to just be able to grab and take from what you're already doing, and that's half of the beauty and half of the fun. I mean, if this is not for a client or anything like that, this is just for me. A lot of these things, what I'll do is if while I'm drawing, I mostly do comic book work and illustrative work, but every now and then I need a little break from the art table, and I find the best way to take a break, instead of going on here and surfing YouTube or playing a game or anything distracting that could distract you for too long, I'll try to, as quickly as I possibly can, open up Photoshop, so I don't have options really to go surf and waste some time, I suppose, online, and get a little bit creative. And it's a different medium, it's on a screen, it's not on paper, and this, like I said, lets me mess around a bit. So the way I'm thinking how we're going to do this is, like I said earlier, I got distracted, like you'll find that I usually do on these things. Since this is on YouTube, I'm only allowed 10 minutes. So once the introduction's done and all that fun stuff, really it's about 9 minutes of playtime. So it's a nice little time distraction in the background that I could throw out every other day. I'll try to do it every day, but if it doesn't happen, mostly on weekends, it's definitely not going to get done. But during the week, I'll try to get at least 3 videos up. And like I said, it is 10 minutes each shot, so we can kind of work together. And just see what's going. And the first thing I'm trying to do is, again, just a monster concept, a creature concept. And I've gone right now from the lanky-ish versions to a more slug-like round guy. And how we're going to do this is right now, we're going to do the concept stages where it's just scribbles. Sorry, I can't even speak. And from the scribbles, all we're going to do is just keep scribbling until I've had enough. And basically, I'd usually go for about 10 to 20 minutes, so that'll be about 2 videos worth of concepts. So, considering this one's 10 minutes in length, the next one we'll do will be more of the same of this, just messing around, fiddling around. But by the end of the second one, what we're going to do is we're going to pick one that we like, one that we want to explore a little bit further, okay? And I have no idea what that's going to be yet, but we'll try to spend a minute deciding which one we like and which we want to take a little further. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to spend another 10 minutes or 20 minutes with that exact, the concept that we chose, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do what we're doing now again. So I don't confuse you too much. We're going to pick one that we like. Then we're going to make multiple copies of the one we like, and what this allows us to do is some designing features and costume features. And you can exaggerate and play a little bit more with some more anatomy and all the good stuff. So you'll see what I'm talking about in the future videos. But to not get too far ahead, ideally this is the beginning step, and then we're going to try to take it all the way to a final piece. And for me, like I said, I don't have too much time to do a lot of this concept work. This is spare time type projects. Excuse me. And my finals usually are not 100% rendered, illustrative, huge poster quality, detailed images. It's enough for me that I'm satisfied with it and I can move on. And like I said, it's a fun little distraction that we get to do. So I hope you guys stick around for a couple more episodes anyway, and we'll see how far this goes. And I really encourage some of you guys to jump in on this too if you want. I mean, why not? If you know how to do the YouTube video recordings, reply to this video if you want. Do a link on a site, leave me some comments, anything. The more people we get doing this stuff, it's fun. You know, it's like a little community that I hope that we can, all share together and have a good time with it. So, as you can see right now, I did a quick shape, and it's something I've seen on DeviantArt a couple people doing. They'll just draw a bunch of shapes, and then you draw inside the shape, and it makes you think in a more silhouette.
Alright, I had enough, had enough of that. God. Talk about going back in time, eh? Holy smokes. So that was 6 years ago? Yeah. I don't think that was episode 1 though. The episode 1 we were doing like some pen drawings. Okay. Hello everybody that's in here. Pete, I apologize. It seems like I just keep running in circles around your question. So I know there's going to be other people that are interested in this, so I'm going to show you again. So what Pete's asking about is I showed and I also posted a video, you guys can check that, blah, 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 of if you need quick ways to come up with story. This is sort of something that I forget even how I stumbled upon it, but it has served me well, and I still do it to this day. It's great, especially this right here I'll show you is especially great, if you know how many pages you want. So let's assume it's like a 22-page book, right? So I'm just going to put it over the side here, 22 pages. And I did a video, where are we at here? There we go. I did a video showing how we can kind of do this, but I'll do one live with you guys here, okay? That'll be super quick. So, first thing we need is a beginning, middle, and end. Now, these shapes that I'm using, I pretend that they're like note cards, or index cards, recipe cards. I use those. I thought I had some over there to show you guys, but I just draw them on here just to show you guys. That's what I like to use when I'm writing. You guys use whatever you want. So, beginning, middle, and end. I always like to start with the end, but we need like a theme. What's the point? So if we were to go super simple, I think even I'll just use the one that I think is even in that video is Stealing. I want to talk about stealing, okay? So let's say it's Jessup King. We're going to use it there, right? And of course, in that world, maybe it's not, but stealing is wrong, right? Stealing is bad, so we want to show that. So I'll just put, I'm going to keep this so simple, guys. And you guys might not be able to read this, but bad guy, arrested, okay? Now, the beginning is usually the opposite of that. So, and again, I'm going super kids show here with you guys. Bad guy steals jewels. Yeah, nice and crafty. So the transition here is, okay, so we got the bad guy steals the jewels. What happens to make him get arrested? Well, the obvious here is, I'm just going to put Jessup captures. Okay, and I'm just trying to keep these as gross as possible. How's it going, Kevin? Just trying to keep these as loose as possible. One, yes, because of how lame I'm making the story, but two, you don't want to worry about like drafting out like major sentences here. You just need plots to keep moving fast. So when you get to the scripting part, if you want to add that, then add a little bit more of that juice, like some proper writing. So next, I normally go like this to make 3 cards, but it's going actually here. Let's see how this works. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Not much room. So what we do now is a beginning, middle, and end for each one of these cards, right? So I'm not going to fill this in. You guys can use your imagination. Basically, maybe I'll do the last one here, just so you can kind of see. It's the exact same workflow. So the end here is bad guy gets arrested. So we'll say Jessup. I don't know. Jessup gets a medal. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something. So what's the opposite of that? Maybe it's bad guy almost escapes. You guys can't read any of this. What's a transition? There's a fight, we'll just say, okay? So you're just going to do that all the way through. And what we've just done, theoretically, is each one of these is a beat. Now, a beat is basically a plot point. It's just another way of wording it. So this little method that again, I forget exactly where I got this from. Could have been Doug TenNapel. There were some forums I was reading, other books I was looking into. But this gives us what we need, okay? But in story, if you watch any movie, right, that's like an hour and a half, usually the first 15 minutes are your act 1, or the first, it'd be 15 minutes. The first 15 minutes is like the world the way it is, okay? Then the next hour is like your act 2 of them just having fun. You get story elements, things that don't make sense, but you find out more about the character. And there's some plot that happens in there for sure, but there's usually other elements that are happening. Then the last 15 minutes are usually like the conclusion. How does that all wrap up? So if you look at it, it basically breaks down to this, right? So we're going to say an hour and a half movie, right? 1.5 hours. And you divide it by 3 for beginning, middle, and end. So the middle, you basically divide it in half, which is what? 45 minutes, right? So 45, I lied to you guys, sorry. So 45 minutes times 2 is an hour and a half, right? So what we do is that means 45 minutes is your act 2. And then you divide the other remaining 45 minutes in your act 1 and act 2. So or act 1 and act 3. Just try to bear with me. I know I'm rambling with words and I'm mixing them up, so it's going to add super confusion. So if we were to do that with comics, right, again, if we're using 22 pages, that's what we're using here. And if you don't know how many pages you want, you can even have an estimate. This isn't like a science, but this will hopefully help you move forward with your writing and all that, right? Because like in a webcomic, I might have a story that's like 6 pages, right? So if it's only 6 pages, you could use these 3 right here and then have like little filler in between. And that's sort of what I'm going to show you here. So let's say 22 pages, half of that is 11. So that's your act 2, right? So that gives us 11 pages to worry about our act 1 and act 3. So it's up to you. Do you want more, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me zoom up a bit. Do you want more explanation in the beginning, or do you want like a bigger resolution? Do you want a quick resolution? Do you want a quick intro right into act 2, like the action, and then a longer drawn out like reward ceremony or lesson learned kind of thing? It's up to you. Do whatever you want. So if I was to go, what, 6 and 5? Is that right? Is my math right? 6 and 6 is 12. 10. Yes, I believe that's right. So here, theoretically, our intro is a little longer. Then we've got some medium stuff going on here, right? So if we were to use just, let's imagine this is gone, and we're just using this right here to plug in to this. So that means our Act 2 revolves around Jessup capturing the bad guy. So we've now got 11 pages to tell that story. What happens in 11 pages that you could script or thumbnail of Jessup and the bad guy, maybe there's a second bad guy. The bad guy's hiring goons and he's got to fight things, or there's a car chase, or it's him getting in a car to go see a family member that's dying. Anything you want, right? Act 1, it follows the same thing. So Act 1, we've got 6 pages to show the bad guy stealing jewels and getting away with it. Act 3, we have 5 pages to show the bad guy being arrested. So did Jessup finally get the upper hand on him? Does the cops get involved? Is there a sidekick? All those sorts of things. And that's really like how, if you were to break it down and that's what I like about drawing comics. The writing might not be the best. You're going to get better, all that stuff, just like drawing. But this here, to me, this is more like when you're doing your roughs and silhouettes. I like to work with a skeleton, and this skeleton lets me plug in things easily and adjustably, and adjust things that make it flow better for what I think I would need. Again, if I was to show an example here, I really don't know if I have. And I'm super excited you guys are even interested, or some of you guys are even interested in this, to be honest with you, because this can be some pretty dry stuff. If I was to look at the first one here, and we're actually about wrapping this up right here. This is the page that happens, page 9. This is the end of Act 1 right here, where if you guys remember, Jessup wants to go check out these little critters. Momo is all about getting fuel to get off the planet because she wants to see these fireworks. So all she's saying down here is like, you don't even care what I want. You're just like you're not even helping your friend. You'd rather look at little like squirrels running around as opposed to helping your friend, like keep your friend happy. It's selfish and it's not at the same time. So the next page here is Jessup still kind of confused. He's like, where are you going? And she's like, I'm going to go find some diamonds. Basically you're not going to help me. And then he's saying, please don't be angry. And she's like you care. And what I'm trying to show here is obviously some drama. It's going into it's going into darkness kind of thing. So she's by herself, right? And then we're going to break into now those two characters are actually separated. So we're not going to see like this stuff for a very long time. These characters aren't going to be together for a while now. And then something else is going to happen, right? So my Act 1 was basically they're stranded on an island, or they're stranded on a place, and I think I just put like a planet or something, and they're trying to find fuel. That's really it. That's about it, and that's happening, right? Like, so from here, and I figured out because this is actually already drawn out, but I broke it up just for the web. Whatever. So 9 pages. What I needed to tell this first act. So I had to fill it up. So what are we going to do to make them argue, or like what's the problem here, right? Well, the problem I came up with was, one, Jessup hasn't been to this planet in a very long time, and he's super excited. Like, what are the chances that they run out of fuel on a place that he's always wanted to go back to and check out because he had a great time with it, right? She just doesn't care. They were already doing something. Now this is interrupting her day. She's super upset, like quick to get angry and like, come on, man, what are you doing? Like, let's go. This isn't fun, So that's the problem, and there's a reason why it plays out a little bit more as well. Without giving you guys too much until we start. I don't want to say too much in the future here until you guys see pages that we're doing like right now and all that stuff. And that was it. That was really it. And what I did is I would just thumbnail out like here, like how many pages, like what do I want to show. And if you guys, this goes a little deeper. I had a video you guys can go check out too, where I bring in Trello. It's a free website you can go to where you make like little cards and you can move them around. And what I did with those cards was put the plots down. So a plot would be a page. A plot's not like 3 plots happen on a page. So again, bad guy steals diamonds. That can be drawn out over a bunch of pages. But if you're breaking them down like this, like I did, I'm trying to get each page into its own plot. So what does that mean? So if we were to look here at Act 1, we know it's 6 pages of bad guy steals jewels. Well, that's 6. I know I'm saying plot a lot, but there's the story plot, and then there's like the page beats or the page plots, and that's what I'm worrying about. Like, okay, so what happens? Who fights? Does he get beaten? Does he do that? You figure those out, and those are your pages, right? Like sometimes it could be like bad guy and good guy fight. You might want to do 5 pages of a fight scene, and that's cool. But you know what you need to put in there, and that's sort of what's going on here. I feel like I could do like a whole video on this stuff, to be honest with you, because it's as simple as this, and it's as complicated as adding Trello and other things like I was saying, where I can add. Here, I feel like I need to show it every time I bring it up, and then we'll get back to some coloring here. Is my timer still going? Of course it is. That's great. Right. Okay. So I don't even know if this is the right one. I think this is an older one. But if you guys remember seeing this, so if you look, just look at the first color. Don't worry about this. Actually, okay, I lied. So on the legend, this is what I did with those plots as well, right? To add in there, so I could see like I don't know if there's too much action or if there's not enough story, right? So right here, if you look, I just have colors here. So I have one for story, action, rest on a moment, like maybe we're just looking at a river or something like that. Plots from cards, those are the ones that I just showed you, like those little cards that I wrote out. And B story, I'm not going to get into that, don't worry about it. So what I've done is, if you look really quickly, I've just assigned a color to the plots. Now the reason for that is now I can quickly look at this and go, okay, let's see what's happening. And if you look, there's like no action at all. There's one here, and then we're going to start ramping into some. Right, like here now we're getting into some action, and this is one of the worries I had of like, okay, well it's all story. Like, normally they tell you to start with like a punch or a bang, but that's what helped me with Trello. And again, you don't have to use this. I have a video on that. Check it out. But the reason why I liked doing that or using that was because I could quickly look and go, you know what, I need to add some action here. And each one of those little plots that you saw, those little things, that's a page. Okay, so you guys are saying you guys are confused and interested and all that stuff, but writing is a that's a whole nother game right there, guys. But writing would hold me back from actually doing any kind of comic book work, especially when you're working on stuff by yourself. So you got to you kind of have to find shortcuts. But you guys let me know if you guys want more of that kind of content. I can toss them up there. I know I have Patreon exclusive stuff talking about that too. I'm not trying to move money on you guys, but I'm trying to think if there's. I'm pretty sure I have everything that's like free is on there as well. You should do a video on this because I just jotted down notes like I'm in college. Good. Hey, yeah, no problem, Pete. No problem, man. Again, check out the video here. 1 second, you guys. If you scroll up, I don't know if the newcomers came in, if you can see that link. Just really, if you just go to my channel, my YouTube channel here, and click on videos, and you'll see the whole list. There's like a little search button. If you literally just type in writing, here, actually, here, I'll hook you guys up that are in the chat right now. I hope that works. But basically, that's a lot of videos I have right there just on writing. Mostly the first one for sure. Oh wait, is that one locked? Okay, so you guys can't see that one. Okay. Okay, so for Patreon, I'm just going to let you know in case you guys are interested in writing, but it's Patreon only. Jessup King Issue 1 Process of Writing and Thumbnail. So I go over my process. It's a 30-minute video of using Trello and other stuff in depth, just primarily for Jessup King. So Patreon is quickly becoming like a place where I just dump process stuff. Like, you guys are going to always be able to check in on what I'm doing here, but specific things for like the process and development of this, I try to primarily focus on Patreon, because those are obviously people that are hooking me up with some cash to help me do my own thing, which is great. You guys aren't going to argue with that, I know. So there's specific content just there for that one. But there is an 8-minute video or a 9-minute video called Using Trello to Plot Comics. And what that is kind of what I was briefly showing you guys with how I would use Trello. And you might dig it. I think it's actually, it's something I'm not sure a lot of people use, but I'm never not going to use it now. Just because of that color coding thing, I can quickly just change a color and go, this needs more action. So I need to pull back on story, or the other way around, right? Like if I feel like all this is a punching robots comic, there's no story, that might not be a problem, but it's good to be able to see it without just writing it. Because writing it, unless you're reading it, you don't get that rhythm. You can quickly just look and go like, there's a lot of red, there's a lot of action. You know what I'm saying? You can sort of just see it that way. I have an hour video of page 1 of Jessup King and quick. How do I have a quick if it's an hour? Quick story how to. Might be in there somewhere. and then there's some note cards and stuff. But yeah, just feel free to like click around on that. Hopefully there's something there for you. But yeah, feel free to check it out there. So thanks anyway for the question. Okay, let's get back to some comics. Actually, hold on. This thing was blowing up. Okay, let's do some stuff. And if anybody else had any questions or anything, by all means, please jam it in there. Writing, drawing, anything you like. Okay, so where did we leave off here? So we got this page is done. So we're just doing. Let me just zoom out here. I think the flats for the characters are all done. We're just doing the backgrounds now. Okay, so let me pull. We don't need you. Let me pull some of the previous pages because we need to have the same color scheme going on. We don't want to be changing up the color for no reason at all. So we got like this bluish background, but there's quick ways you can kind of cheat it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ink. I'm glad you're excited to get back to draw. Just sad to hear that you have to, you gotta wait. And that it's so far away, man. Dang, why is it so far away? You just visiting people? Whoops, get this in the wrong one. So what I'm doing here is I just copied the background from a previous panel. And we're literally just going to paste it in. It's greasy, but it works. Where's the last one we left with Jessup? He's got like this. What color is he? Oh, he's got the ship behind him. Gotcha. So let's go to the Sagan one. And panel 2. It's a little darker. So put this over here so I can see it on a different monitor. So this is, I know you guys were asking earlier, some of you, like why are you visiting? Okay, cool. Well, it could be worse reasons, right? So some of you guys were asking about like why adding the speech bubbles and stuff while I was like doing even the roughs and the thumbnails and all that, because this is what I'm talking about, right? Like if I were to just draw this, there's no way I would leave that much space at the top. There's something in me that would go like it's just empty. Same with this panel, it needs something, right? I'd fill it up, kind of like with this one. But since I know that it's there, it's not as bad because I know there's a reason for it and there's a place. That might just be me. Some of you guys might be a little bit more better equipped to be able to deal with that. and have some discipline. Just sort of go like, oh, I see. Leave a gap for the colorist, you know. All right, let's get some airbrush action here. Color. All right, so we got this blue. She's starting to snap, so I'm going to try to warm it up a bit. Actually, I don't think that's going to work. We might change this blue to a darker blue here. See how this looks. If it jumps too much, nah, it should be okay. Maybe we can start bringing in some, like, she's snapping to like a red. And maybe we can a little darker. See how this looks. Changing the line art color of the speed lines here so they don't feel as garish with that black. How does that look? No, let's just try white. See how that looks. Yeah, white's not bad. I don't know. I don't know if I'm sold on that. Do you still plan on making a video about speed bubbles? Yep. Hoping to make that within the next this week coming up, starting Monday. I go back to work, so and like I say, I know January is gonna be pretty busy with some stuff. So what I'm thinking of doing, I have to record a comics thing for Patreon tomorrow, and I'm going to record the speech bubbles tomorrow. That way I can release it hopefully next week for you guys. All right, Pete. Good luck, man. When you first started doing comics, did you practice from your own stories or did you find scripts? I would say found scripts, but it was usually, you know, I feel like there's an illusion that I do, or that I've always been all about comics, and that's all I'm doing in my world is consumed by comics, but it really isn't, as much as there was a time when I thought that's what it should be, because everything I was doing was kind of going that direction. My own stuff, like, this is really the first start that I'm actually pushing heavily for my own stuff. And I just turned 34 a couple days ago, right? So my world is just sort of starting to get letting go of that illusion a little bit, I suppose. It's a little weird. We were talking about it earlier today. But most of my experience with comics has come from, luckily, being hired by people. Meaning, like, like the Standard and other small comic gigs that you guys would never have known about until I was even doing YouTube and sharing what I was doing with you guys. But a lot of that, like, there's no reason for you guys to kind of know what the hell was going on. But in saying all that, yeah, most of my stuff was just going through other people's scripts. Now, what do I recommend? I would say try to work with some people. Hopefully, you can get paid for it. If you can't get paid for it yet, you can always just grind out and do what I did. Just spend tons of years trying to get better at drawing, and then you could find paying work. I would recommend doing your own thing in that time. Do your own work. Don't even worry about waiting for other people, and don't do work. I'm still a believer of, like, don't do work for free. I don't care who it's for. Because there's no, you can do your own stuff for free, man. Like, there's no reason to do it for free for somebody else. So, like, even if a writer comes along and maybe you're not the best writer, like, I just showed you guys how you could quickly make your own comic, and you could just draw that, right? And you could do exactly what I just showed you and make it Marvel, DC, anything is like fan art. Put it on your website and stuff, and just do that, and send that to editors and stuff, and you're fine. Or if you want to learn how the only way that I would say do something for free is if the idea of if the idea of experiencing trying to think of a good way to say it. Okay, the only way that I would recommend working for free is if you want to experience what it's like working on a team. That's it. So if that's the reason why, then maybe look for that, just so you can kind of see what it's like to work with a writer, maybe an editor. I don't know who's going to be on your creative team. If you're just a penciler, what do inkers look like when they ink your work? Colorists. See what that email chain looks like when people disagree with stuff, or when you spend 20 hours working on a kick-ass page and you get it back and they're like, no, we don't like it. Can you change this, this, and that? And everything you're saying is like, but all the changes you're asking for just don't make any sense. Like, it actually looks worse with what you want, and that's the trenches crap work right there. That's the only way I would say work for free if you want to experience it without having to worry about getting money tied up, because you can always leave once you've had your share. I know that's probably not proper etiquette and stuff, but it's one of the gross realities, right? Other than that, I don't think there's zero reason to work with anybody on any of your stuff. That's not to say don't do it. Some people thrive with working with other people, and if you think you're one of those people, then by all means, knock it out. There should be no reason for you not to do that stuff. But if you're hesitant, if you're not even really sure, if you're just doing it because that's what you hear people say you're supposed to do, I don't know. I'd start to question a lot of that stuff. First and foremost, my motto is just do what makes you happy. If spending a lot of time doing art on pages doesn't make you happy, then find way. Either A, it's this field's not for you, or B, find projects that don't require as much front work. Like what I'm doing here, the line art's a lot more open because I'm coloring it and I'm letting the color do a lot of the talking for me. I don't have to necessarily have dramatic shadows that I would have poured needlessly over everything for I don't even know why. Probably because I thought it was just like a cool look, which is really stupid. Yeah, I'm just rambling on you here. Okay, Jordan. Wait. So, are you saying comics weren't your initial goal? That's pretty interesting and cool, actually. So, when you were initially filling up your sketchbooks, it was just self-improvement kind of thing. Yeah, 100% right. When I was doing my sketchbooks, I actually have a video. I think it was called "Years of Sketchbooks." I think I did that a couple years ago. And with that, I just because people always wonder what's in sketchbooks. I always like looking at people's sketchbooks. It's fun. Sometimes there's a lot of crap, and then sometimes there's some really cool stuff, right? But I used to be the guy or one of the people in school that could draw really well. So all I did was draw. And as I grew up, I won't say that life was the worst, but it wasn't the best. A lot of reasons for that. Maybe we can talk about that in some other time. But it was just like art was a way. It was fun to just. It was a lot more. It was more fun just hearing people. I suppose it was coming from like a compliment standpoint, not like I wanted my nose in the air. I want people to worship me. That kind of crap. It was more just like acceptance because there wasn't a lot of that. So it's kind of like the kid that acts up in school. The kid's not a piece of crap, and the parents aren't like necessarily abusive and stuff. It's just nobody's giving the kid attention. So the kid acts up, right? So that same, in my mind anyway, that same process is the same for a lot of things, right? So like, no, I'm not saying I was like super abused or anything like that. And I was trying to get like, I was trying to be I'm not hurting people at school so that disciplinary action stuff is my attention. Not that. But the drawing aspect sort of was, where it's like I can kind of retreat back to myself. I can just do my thing. I don't even want to talk to anybody. But when I'm ready to show stuff, generally it gets that praise, right? And that didn't go away for a long time. That was just, that's just how you grow up, right? You're that, what do they call that? Nurturing versus nature kind of thing. Like, what do your outsource or your outside sources do to affect like who you become, that kind of thing. So a lot of that was just that, and it came to a point. I forget when it was. I'm trying to think. I think it was like when high school was kind of getting done, and it was like, okay, well, what do you? Now that high school's done, you have to start worrying about what are you gonna do with the rest of your life? You have to be something now. And I had no clue. Comics definitely weren't on there. I mean, I used to just start drawing because it was something to do, and I would copy comic books, but I liked comic books. I didn't even really buy Spawn was on there, but the other thing that I liked about comic books was like it was entertainment. I love video games. I would play the hell out of video games, but that it's entertainment. It's all it was. It was a way to escape into something that was cool. That's it. That's it. It wasn't like, and I'm not one of these people, and I will never claim to be that grew up just like comics saved me, or anything like that. It had nothing to do with that at all. It was just entertainment that was uh, around me that I got from time to time that was cool. That's it. So uh, high school was wrapping up, and what are they called? You guys might have to help me out here. It's like somebody that kind of gets you set up for like co-op, or they ask you the questions of like, what do you want to be when you grow up, kind of stuff. A counselor, that's what it was. And I don't know. My answer was just something to do with art because I wasn't focused. I didn't care. Drawing was just that thing, right? So anyway, a local college came in and they were starting up an animation course. It was called Tradigital Animation for anybody here in Windsor or elsewhere that's coming in. And at the time, it was like a mesh between 2D animation and 3D animation. So I was excited about that because it was like kind of more like video games, right? But what they were toting was like that Disney would hire you, and they were scouting and crap like that. It was just propaganda. Anybody that's not in the school system, if you're old like me, school is a sham. Okay, school is literally there to put you in debt. If you're an artist, you do not need school. I'm not saying if you're in school, what leave. If you're in school, school gives you different things, but you don't need school to have a career in art. Doctors and lawyers, that's different stuff. I'm not even, we're talking art here. We're just talking real talk, right? So with art, I mean, everybody, like arts in general, writing, art, there's always like a group of passionate people that would love to be able to do what they like for the rest of their life. Like doctors and lawyers, I'm not saying they don't like what they do. I don't know. They might just be in it for the money. I don't know. But art is just something that's it's independent, meaning you sort of find out about that stuff on your own, right? Like it's not like I don't know. I'm rambling. Anyway, so they came in. They said there's all that. So to me, it was like, okay, well, I don't have to move. I can still stay in my hometown, and I get to go to college. So I made my portfolio the night before. I sent it out, and it wasn't anything great, but I got accepted. And that told me two things. One, I didn't have to try that hard, and two, um, like it it almost came across as a joke. Like if I just rushed something and I got in, does that mean that I'm really that good? And ego wasn't there, but I knew that I drew a lot, so that when I looked at other people that drew, I could tell there was a difference. And I did have a little bit, I wouldn't say an attitude, but there was a little ego there, just to be totally open and honest with you guys. But when I went to college there was a lot of really awesome people, some cool people, some JOs, you know how they go, some horrible people, but there's a lot of cool people, a lot of down to earth people, and just real people. But I did notice that there was and this is one of the things that kind of threw me off, and what I didn't like, not necessarily about the course, but just artists in general, I guess, was that or at least the difference in artists. For me, it was I was always trying to find like a group of people that were in like, what are you working on? Show me the stuff you're working on. Like, what are you doing to not just to improve yourself, but what are you drawing? Like, what do you do in your spare time? And a good chunk of them, a good chunk of people that were in that course. Let me just sum it up with this. When we had life drawing course, the first thing that our teacher told us was like, okay, everybody, I'm going to let you know that like halfway through the semester, you all have to turn in your sketchbooks, and half of your grade in life drawing is determined on the art in your sketchbook. And I'm not kidding you. It was probably like 80% of the classes they sighed. They're like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" And that made me just go like I got upset about that. I'm sitting in a room of artists, so-called artists, that want to do art, but nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to do anything. Nobody wants to like. It just made me realize I'm surrounded by a bunch of people that are in this just because. And just to bring this back to my portfolio, if I just did this the night before and I got in, I don't know how long these people spent to take their time to get in either, but their attitude was totally wrong. And your art, like your attitude comes through your art as well, right? So that clicked to me that all this place is doing is filling seats, period. And I got super scared from that, and then I started looking at things objectively, going, okay, so the honeymoon phase is over here. If that's what all this means, I gotta start thinking long term. What does animation look like for me down the road? Like, is it video games or something like that? So while I was getting in that transitional period, it was towards like the end of the first year, the first semester, and I worked at a gas station, and I'm giving you guys the whole history of the stuff here. I've told it a bunch of times, but I would always bring my sketchbook to the gas station, and I would just draw. Right, I would draw. I'd grab muscle magazines, bikini magazines. I'd grab a pop at the gas station, and I'd sip on that. People would pay me, and I would just sketch, and it was great. It was great. It was like my sketchbook time. And when I went home, I could just play video games. Life was great. It was awesome, right? So I'm doing all that, la 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 la, and I'm drawing. I'm doing all that thing, and just one day, a guy came in, looked at my sketchbook, said, "Yo, this is pretty cool stuff. What are you doing?" And I told him about the course, and then I told him, but what I'm really thinking of doing is getting into comics. And I just want to back this up about this time that I was thinking about what I want to do with animation. I would always post to a couple forums where people were looking for like art jobs, and the only art jobs I was really finding, because I wasn't really good at concept art, was like comic book stuff. And I'm like, well, I can draw muscle dudes and stuff. That's not a problem, I just do all that. So I was getting some side gigs that never amounted to anything. But I was noticing I was getting money for it, right? Like I was getting paid. And it wasn't a lot, but I was getting enough that I didn't have to take like a full-time job. I could have my garbage, um, what's it called? Well, it's not garbage. I apologize. The gas station job, because I could still draw there too, right? So I'm doing all that, and so comics started to get on my mind. Like maybe there is something there. So this guy came in and he saw my stuff and he was like, "Oh, this is it's not bad. What do you want to do?" And I told him what I just told you guys, and I said, "But I'm thinking of possibly getting into comics. Like maybe going down that road." And he was, "Oh, cool. Well, like I work for Marvel." And I've told this before as well, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Like I thought that moment I made it. I was like, "Okay, that's it. Let's do it. I'm done." Like great. I can. My life's made now. I met a person from something that doesn't exist. Like it's magical to me that I ran into somebody that is in this invisible world that I would like to maybe one day be part of. I don't know. And it turns out he just moved into town, and he was literally across the street, two houses over. So I was like, "This is kismet. This is beautiful stuff." Sort of skipping over a bunch of that because there's some bad and some good that came out of that. The best thing that came out of that was I learned so much from him about comics in general. Not just I was drawing a lot of anime at the time, but like not just how to study, how to draw, but sort of the business. I went to a couple conventions with him in Toronto, I think two, and I got to meet like CB Sobalski, if you guys know that name, and I don't like name dropping, but there's times where I was sitting around a table with like a bunch of people. If you guys know Mark Bagley, he did like Ultimate Spider-Man, Maximum Carnage, that stuff. I was just like, holy crap, who's this guy? And I'm sitting around a table with these guys, and I don't really drink, and they're all drinking, and he made fun of me with a joke, but it was all in good fun, and I'm like, this is insane. Like I started to feel like that. I don't want to say the rock star stuff, but I was like, this is a world I want to be in. It's okay. I'll tell you this right now, guys. Going to school to be in something is that's fine. Like that's cool. You're still surrounded by your peers. If you at all can get around somebody that's in an industry that you're interested in, it's a radically different experience, and that's why I'm saying school might not necessarily not be the thing, but like if you can meet somebody that's drawing comics professionally in a field that you want, like let's say Marvel, DC, and they can kind of get you in their little circle a little bit, you are far beyond any thing school is going to give you. The amount of like real life practical advice you're going to get from people, the real talk, you know, the what's it called, the straight dope that they're going to give you. It was like animation was gone at that point. I was like, I'm dropping out. I don't even care. Like this is cool. We went to like a club, and I'm not a club guy, guys, at all. Like I've never even been to a concert. Okay, I don't really drink. I don't do anything. This is me. I'm a nerd. I draw. I'm in my own little shell here, right? And we were going to clubs, and there was this Marvel section where it was like you guys can go up here as like a little VIP area, and I'm like I'm way out of my element here, guys. Like this is this is crazy stuff. And I was going up there, and it was like the first time I was noticing it's just weird stuff because I'm not in that environment. And there's like this table. There's a lot of good-looking women. There's guys. There's all that stuff, and the guy I was with, he's trying to get me to drink and stuff, and I'm like, that's not my bag, man. I'm not really into that. You guys have a good time. I'm just, just enjoying. And I felt like I was more like baggage at that point. But this is just a side note. There's this one. It was like there's this girl, and she was like, she was a nice looking girl, and she was talking to guys, and then there was like this couch, and there's like all these like really hot chicks there and stuff. And so like it turns out anyway that she's like a pimp or something. And she was like, you go over there, you talk to her, you sit with the ladies, you pick which one you want, you go home, do your thing. In New York, just or it wasn't New York, sorry, it was this is just Toronto. It was a side of life that not changed me, but like that as a nerd that lives at home playing video games, I'm not even interested in that. That stuff's all in like media and like movies and stuff you watch. And when I saw it, it was sort of like everybody grows up differently, right? You guys might see stuff on the streets or something that's real that you were sheltered from before, kind of thing, right? So I was starting to see that. So I was growing up fast. I was seeing all this stuff, but when I would meet these artists and stuff, it was like, again, you're part of that clan, and it was like, and I'm nothing at that time, right? I'm just drawing and learning from this guy, and it was all just like everything surrounding it was just really cool to me. Again, like I guess it would be like same to a rock star stuff, but that stuff started to fall apart. I won't. Maybe someday down the road we'll talk about that. But it started falling apart, and I think most of it came down to just the fact that I wasn't into that whole world. I'm not into like drugs, drinking. You guys do what you want. I'm not going to judge anybody as long as you're not hurting people, right? But I'm not in that. That's not my thing. I've got more better shit to do, like draw, you know. So it was going into that. I'm kind of forgetting what the hell we're even talking about, but. All right, so I'm doing all that, and in between there, I told you I dropped out of college, so I got a full-time job at a factory to pay off all my debt from college because I didn't want that bringing me around. I wanted that gone. I just wanted to be able to start with some good stuff, you know. So I kept going there, and then from there it was like, okay, well now that I don't have school, you know, what do I do? My dad was like, well, you're not just gonna stay here. You need a full-time job and all this stuff. So that's where it was kind of like, you get kicked out. It's time to move on. You grow up, all that stuff. The only thing comics has been, and this is the realest of talks for you guys, okay? For me anyway, what comics have been has been a source of stable income from time to time. Meaning, uh, doing YouTube and all that stuff. It looks like I'm always doing comics and stuff, but the reason for that I think is because that's obviously what I'm showing you guys. But if you guys think about it, really there hasn't been too much comic talk on this. There's been comic related content, but that's just because of the stuff I've learned and all that. Most of the work I get is like pinups and covers and like concept art. Well, not concept art, but like if you guys remember like the role playing books that we were doing, the artwork for that. It's related, but it's different, right? And it's just it's just, and not that I don't feel like I'm trying to lie to people or nothing like that. It's just that's just the side of it that's where that's how comics are in my life. And the entire time it's sort of like climbing up to go like, well, the top of this castle is Marvel DC, right? So that's what you got to work for. But if you guys can tell already, right? I get people asking this all the time, and I always appreciate it. It's like, oh, you're good enough. Why don't you work for these places and that? And the reality is, and I'm just I think it was the last 6 months to a year when I've been talking to you guys, is that I know why I don't have a job at these places is because I don't try hard enough. But the thing is, if I'm not trying hard enough, why aren't you trying hard enough? Don't you want it? And that's the reality. It's like I don't want it. I don't want to do that because it's just not fun to me. The idea of like again sitting down doing 16 hours of something that I don't care about necessarily. It'd be fun to draw characters for these people, absolutely, and I'd never say no. But that's the reason, and that's the only reason alone why nothing has happened. So it's been a really weird full circle stuff. But really now the way that this is coming down to, and this is sort of wrapping up your question, I guess, Jordan, in a really long-winded way, and I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on this, is that video games was something that I've always been into. You guys heard me talk about that earlier. I literally stumbled into a video game company that I work at now. It's very small, just five of us. I'm the only artist there. Um, and the reason I got that job was an old teacher from that animation course that I went to hooked me up. And it was timing. That's it. He walked in while I was working at EB Games, a video game store. And I was working at two jobs that time. For a lot of my life, it's just been two jobs. Um, Sometimes three with comic work, but I was just doing my thing, and he came in and was like, "Oh man, I haven't seen you in a long time. Blah blah blah. What are you doing? This is all I'm doing. Oh well, this place needs an artist. Check him out." And that's it. But now it's like, okay, so what makes you happy? Okay, and that's the core of what I'm trying to do now. Life's not going to get any easier. It's only going to get more complicated as you make it, right? So from now on, it's just focusing on what's it called? Hey, how's it going, Jeff? Focusing on the day job, concept art, all that stuff. I have a blast doing that. Come home, the comic stuff I want to do. I'm done working for other people, man. Like I might get commissions from time to time, and I'm not trying to sound like with my chest in the air, my nose up in the air, looking down on other people's projects. It's just there's no reason for me to do that anymore if the goal isn't for like these big companies, building like a tome of work that I'm going to show these people that I don't even really necessarily want to do. So it's like, well, I don't want to give up comics because I love the fact that you can tell a story by yourself, right? So that's what Jessup Kings come down to. At least that's the project right now. That's what comics are to me anyway right now, and it's that. You guys, I've already showed you. It's so far it's taken about 5 hours a page total. That's right, the color, which is amazing because then I can still release content, which you guys dig, and I'm glad. We can still do YouTube stuff because that's fun. But then first and foremost, and this might sound like it's just a long-winded way of me saying I just want to play video games, but it opens up more time for like social stuff that I kind of miss with like my girlfriend, my family. If you guys remember earlier today, we were talking with Kurt, the guy that we did the interview with. Like I met him playing Magic the Gathering of all places. I miss doing that. There's no reason not to do those things. And I know I have been militant because I have been militant upon by people saying like, and it's true in a lot of ways. And I'm going to end this ramble in a second here of like, if you want something bad enough, you're going to do anything you can, right? But what the last 15 years have shown me anyway is I don't want to work for those companies that bad because if I did, all these other side distractions like video games or a life, we'll say, right, like a normal person's life, I wouldn't be romanticizing about, I suppose, right? If you think about it, if I wanted to work for Marvel, I would quit everything, boom, and go right for that, right at the throat. But I don't want to do that. I have doubt because that means I don't want to do it, right? So all it is really, I guess, just that hopefully answered your question. But I was just trying to illustrate at the end there for you guys. Just ask yourself that as well. Ask yourself deep down inside, like, what makes you happy, and if working like non-stop at a portfolio and the grind for the next 10 years plus to get a job at one of these companies doesn't excite you, then stop. Don't invest that kind of time into something that you're not happy about. Just like if maybe comics are your thing, so do your own comics, man. Like I wish I did this like 10 years ago. I wish I was starting this and I got out of that propaganda machine that I brought with me from the 90s of there's only one way to go in comics. That's not real anymore. It's not. And there's people that'll tell you that it is. And there's people that are in that machine that'll tell you that it is. And there's people out. And I think if there's one thing that I'm hoping that I can do with this by sharing you guys the process of all this, letting you guys know like all the stuff to make it, what I'm doing, the time, all that stuff. If it gets some of you guys into it too, like that's all I care about, man. Like if I can help or maybe show that it's possible to do things that maybe a lot of comic book stuff is telling us that we need to do. I'm not saying a visionary or anything like that. There's nothing stupid. I don't want to romanticize that. I'm just saying it should just be happy. That's the number one thing. Don't don't think that like if you don't try hard enough right now that you're going to regret it when you're older that you didn't bust your ass to work for Marvel and DC. Maybe you really don't want to work for them. Right? Maybe it's a stepping stone. I don't know. That's all. So, anyway, I'm gonna get back to this. V, I always thought it was weird when you talked about Marvel DC jobs. You sound 10 times more passionate about your own work, so I've tried to quietly prod you in that direction for months. Well, thank you for being the guy in the background, for trying to help me out there. And thank you guys. Yeah, again, obviously, yeah, new series, Real Talk, comic real stock stories. But yeah, anyway, that got me on a little tangent there, like you know how these usually do. But that's the comic history there. And I just want to add like a little asterisk to that, if in case I wasn't clear when I was just what probably sounded like just bashing companies. If your goal is to work for anybody, Any company, I don't care who it is. Just make sure you're happy, make sure you want it, and then just go get it. That's all. My problem was just that I was always thinking that I wanted something when in reality, if I did, it wouldn't be that hard of a struggle, you know? Because the drawing is still there. I'm not going to stop drawing. Drawing to me is like I have nightmares of like my hands ripping off and not being able to draw anymore. Like I can't imagine not being able to draw. That like it breaks my heart. Um, and I don't know what the allure. Like I'm not a business guy. The idea, and again, this goes into when people are always asking, like, well, how am I going to sell the book and make money, or like when are you going to print it? And I think V and a couple of you guys the other day, you were saying like, this is going to be sold out day one, all that stuff. Oh, like that's I love the flattery. I appreciate that. But that's not the main reason with doing any of that stuff, right? The other thing too, like with books and stuff, like I'm not a salesman. I don't want to be a salesman. I might have to be down the road for something, for this book, but I don't want to think about that now. That's why digital is so cool. You can kind of hide behind a screen, even though we got the webcam going now. It's not the same, but like you can be a little bit more genuine, I guess, when you're not in front of real people. I suppose, like, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully, what I'm trying to do here and talk to you guys with and all that stuff, you not just you guys. You guys have been here for a long time, but there's people that'll always come by that are new, and hopefully you never know who you're speaking to, right? And you never know how you're talking, and really it's just building on communication and helping other people up, right? That's always been the goal for all this stuff. Okay, that's enough feely stuff for now. Let's get into some emotion stuff. V, can you talk a bit about aliasing and anti-aliasing for web and print? I find that when I don't anti-alias my line work, it looks like digital garbage online, especially when zoomed. Any tips for inks? Hmm. Well, okay, well, I always get it screwed up. Gosh. Okay, so I think alias is jaggies, and anti-alias they kind of blur it out. So what the hell does that mean? Could be wrong. So you guys let me know. I'm just going to show you here. So if you look at my like, I don't ink in alias. I ink in anti-alias just because it looks better. So where are we at here? So this would be anti-alias. You see how it's gray? You see there's like these pixels in between that make it look better. If we turn that off, it'll look like this. It looks like old retro video games, right? So what's the difference? Well, and kind of addressing the question here. So when you print these jaggy lines, it's for two things. One, the print, like when you print, it'll be a sharper image, which is great. Secondly, nowadays, especially nowadays with digital, or sorry, like the file size is dramatically smaller when everything's just black or white. That's the whole intent for it, right? But now with digital, with colorists and stuff, it's easier to make selections. You don't have to worry about like these little blurs and stuff. Nowadays, I think anyway, like just as printers get better and better, I don't think you have to work with this aliased or anti-aliasing anymore, or this aliased. My God, sorry guys. Really need to learn the language of digital work here, right? As for like what you're saying for the web, I think these blurred lines will always look the best. I'm wondering if it has just something to do with the way you're scaling it when you're exporting it, like when you're saving your image. Are you downsizing it too much? Actually, you know what? Maybe you can jam an example in the chat here so I can see something here. Jordan, my goal now is just improvement on digital stuff. Awesome, man. Wish you all the best. You guys are all just voices in my head. That's right. Let me go. Just let me go. All right. We're going to need some background color here. So let's just pick a gray for now. Okay, our ground background color. Let me turn off all these special effects here. Is it just that one? Cool. Alright. I don't like this yellow color here. Which is gonna suck because she's casting fire, so. Hey Zelda. What? You sleeping? Where are you sleeping, Momo? Let's try this one instead. It's good enough for me to just give it a few times because I thought you said that it was the go-to for print. It is. I mean, are you coloring? Because if you're coloring, then it's different ball game. If it's gonna get colored, the lines get blurred. And you don't even. It doesn't even matter if it's just black and white. If it's manga, I don't know, man. It's tough. Like because you can actually have a rastered or sorry, like a black and white. Here, I'll show you guys. Jeez, I'm all over the place on you. So let's make a new image here. 600 dpi, cool. We're gonna go with black, and I'm going to make this just disgustingly aliased. Right, so we're gonna have like it doesn't even look pixel. What the hell? Is it? Yeah, it is. Wow, interesting. Okay. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it looks bad. I don't know. Okay. So let's get a lot of like little fine detail lines. And I'm gonna turn this to monochrome. Cool. So if you guys zoom in, check this out, right? So it's literally just black and white. The file size is so small, it's ridiculous. But when you export it, let's just take a look here. Export single layer, PNG. I'll put on desktop for now. Yeah. Output size, we'll go pixels. We're going to put it at, I don't know, 1200, just to see. Cool, cool. Now let's view it before we open it in here, just so we can see. Oh, if it's especially going to be color, I mean, it really doesn't matter. I think it's more just to help your colorist out. If it is just like this, again, like I said, it's easier for color holds to like make your flat so their work. It helps your buddy down the line. If you're coloring it, then do whatever makes you possible. That's all. That's all. Plus, it's a much smaller image size. That helps too. Okay, where's this thing? Okay, so I'm gonna double click it and open it here so we can preview it in Windows Viewer whenever it wants to load. Okay, so this is what it looks like on my screen. Doesn't look that bad. I don't know. You know what? Maybe send an example if you got something, because I know with different people's computers, sometimes it always looks a little different. I was just thinking that should I want to print something and throw it up on a wall, it would close the digital quality. Oh no, don't worry about that. I wouldn't. That's more on the quality of the printer you're going to. In my experience, it's been anyway. I'm actually just swipe this first panel too. Let's take a look at that. See if that works. I dig. The hell? I see what's going on. Okay. There we go. So we'll just save it for now. I'm not sure if I like that too much. No more jaggies for me. There's also a problem if it was zoomed in all the way. Uh, yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll say this in case you do want to keep doing what you're doing. Don't look at how it looks zoomed in and think that is even remotely close to how it'll look when it's printed out. That was something that when I was doing this digital transition, it took me so long to get out of my head. Like, don't even worry about it. It's not going to look like this. If you have access to a printer, or if you have to go somewhere and spend like the a dollar or whatever to print out a couple pieces of paper of different prints you've done, just so you can see and feel, okay, this isn't, this feels fine. Do that just so you can have a peace of mind with it, because just doing that alone will help you so much. It'll it'll let you see, and I recommend anybody do this, especially if you're working for comics or anything. Just do your black and white art. Go get it printed out at scale, like how it's going to look in a book. It'll put you at an ease of mind. It'll also let you know if maybe the lines you're using are actually too thin or they're too thick. It's something I don't think a lot of people do. They just draw what's on here. If it's for web, don't even worry about it. Web's different. Web almost doesn't even count. I think I like this orange kind of look a little better. Let's try something. Let's go a little darker. Okay, let's color this fire up. What is that white shape? I see. I hope that's not the case, Monochrome. It's crazy. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap the stream up tonight, you guys. Just gonna do some of this on my own here. So I say thanks again, V. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for letting me know about the events that they've been like updated here, or maybe they've always been like this, and I've just been too stupid not to notice it. But yeah, so you guys can look forward to that. I'm gonna try probably tomorrow as well. Like I've been streaming all week for the most part, but I don't save these. So what I'll do is I'll see if maybe tomorrow I'll set up a little notification that we're gonna be streaming in like an hour or something like that, just so you guys can check that out. And again, in the new year, we're going to bring back the live Scribbles show, which is kind of whatever. It's probably just gonna turn into like a critique show, to be honest with you guys. And that way, you guys can see that stuff like a week in advance, and if you want to hang out, you can, and all that good stuff. So we save that up. So anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate it. I'll let you guys go, and everything I just said. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and all that good stuff. So anyway, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye bye.